Hiya, and welcome back to Outriders. I was not expecting to say that at all. This game peaked immensely when it first came out, introducing really cool ideas for legendaries, actually trying a lot of new things, really. And there was so many good things about it. But there was still a lot of like complete, in my opinion, missteps on like how people actually play video games and why people are drawn to looter shooters in general. One of the biggest crucial problems with this game, in my opinion, was the whole reason why I stopped playing it, is the end game, which essentially is the drop pods or expeditions, which in theory are very, very cool. They're kind of like Destiny strikes, except we just have a bunch of them, and you're gonna fight the different enemy types, very similar to something like Destiny, except at launch, these expeditions were insane. If you were like, A, loot did not drop fast, but B, there was a time trial difficulty ranking to get better loot. So basically the end game was catered to you need to kill and drop things incredibly quickly. So if you happen to be a class that didn't necessarily do that, or if you happen to like a skill that did like a little bit of damage but also healed you, it was pointless, because the entire end game was just how can we get an armor piece that gives you a stupid amount of defense, like one of those, and then everything else into damage, and that was the end game. And it only rewarded the DPS playstyles, and honestly even then it was just frustrating because you couldn't build any sort of survivability because of that time trial. If you didn't hit the time trial, you were going to get bronze or silver, which wouldn't have been good because then you wouldn't have gotten the legendary loot that you require to progress. So this, sorry to be a little bit negative, but this was a really big bad problem, whereas I think, and having played so many looter shooters, I think you guys may also think, that what we want from a looter shooter is something that we can have fun to grind and to create builds around, not something that requires you to be super focused, because that was the other thing. The time trial thing also made the enemies super tanky every single time you leveled them up, and because you were so weak, if you got hit a couple times you were dead, so you had to focus on headshots and dropping people fast as shit. And it basically just was not great. To me, it was everything that the end game of looter shooters should not be. It should not be super end game high skill cap grind. It's just go kill a boss and then get a legendary and see if it works for you. And if it doesn't, then rinse repeat until it does. Listen to a podcast in the background, maybe watch some YouTube videos, maybe listen to some music and decompress after your hard worked day. That, to me, is where looter shooters are at their peak, is when you're getting stimulated and you're also making progress because you're building towards something. And I don't know, I really just like the difficulty aspect of the end game, where it was like super, like we're playing goddamn like a hardcore shooter or something, you know, like a game on max difficulty, and certain characters weren't very strong. Anyways, sorry. The only reason why I'm telling you all this is so that people who are not really a part of the Outriders journey can understand why this right now, today, is one hell of a comeback story. Well done, developers, man. This is what I love to see. Okay, so first things first, what they did is incredible. It's essentially, just think of the best comeback story you could do or think of, and they're that. They acknowledge the fact that they fucked up in a lot of ways, that things were not up to expectations, that there was some extra bugs at launch, that the end game just wasn't stimulating towards the players. They also talked about drop chances of legendaries not being sufficient, and all of these things. So everything that we just talked about, think of everything that, but the opposite now is in effect, okay? So what they did with drop pods, which is huge, is they completely took out the time mitigation that would reward you higher legendaries based on the time completion of it. And instead, they went about it in a different way, where you always, if you complete the expedition, you will always get your loot. That is amazing, because there's still, I believe, a 3-strike and you're out expedition run. So it's like, if it is too hard for you, you're still fucked. You're still not going to get your legendary gear. So there's still a way to gamify it, but as you guys can see here, we are no longer getting like, you don't get bronze and you get like a couple crappy ass items if you didn't complete it at the highest tier. Also, they increased on a global level all legendary drops or all loot high rarity drops across the board. So we should be seeing a lot more items now. But the other thing that does matter when it comes to legendaries is a lot of people would just hyper focus on something that was super easy to complete. I believe Stargrave was one of my favorites, where it was just super fast. You could just bang it out in a couple seconds. But I think if we go to this, so yeah, this has a legendary drop chance of 2.5. And if we go to the one we were just hovering over, yeah, this one has a 3.5 legendary. Now the reason why that is because Stargrave is so fast to complete. So you're going to be having the chance to flip the coin more, essentially. But if you do a longer expedition, they will take that into account and reward you handsomely for it. So again, more legendaries across the board, and they're facilitating this. And ideally, you'll be able to not rush through the encounter. So you'll be able, at a base level, honestly, it'll just be about how much you can heal and survive just to push on through. That'll be your only difficulty limitation thing, and just having enough survivability to complete the encounter, which can be a good bit of survival needed at times. But I digress. The other thing that's massive is that they actually changed Santiago, this beautiful hunk of a man. Look at his ass. I think he's actually like a... Well, I don't know. He might be a Native American character, which is very few, and I'm, of course, Native American, so very happy to see that. Anyways, he's also scarred to shit. Anyways, but one of the things that they added is they finally fixed this, so it's now going to constantly be rotating gear every week, I believe, as well as you can buy this, which is going to give you a random legendary if you just happen to have abundance of this, and you can re-roll the entire instance of legendary loot right here. So you can get a random singular legendary, or you can re-instance all of this loot. So actually, I don't think it's on a table. I think you need to like re-instance it, which how much does it cost? 900, that's not bad. And yeah, there's a lot of good gear. This was one of the best pieces of gear in the entire game, specifically just its special property, which is this. The first shot fired after reloading does like a stupid scaling high damage thing. It's on a 1 second cooldown. So basically you shoot, you reload, you shoot, you reload. You just had a stupid strong weapon. Anyways, especially if you had like a single shot weapon, you could just throw this on there and it would kill just because of the anomaly scaling thing, if you had a build that facilitated that. Anyways, but then we also have this one, which is also a crazy good, not necessarily the 5-star mod, or like its legendary prefix, but just the base of this gun just shot out so much bullets so fast that it just wrecked shit. And yeah, also, one of the other things that's absolutely huge, and dude, this is the thing that makes me like so happy about this, but so many times in games I feel, and I'm sure you guys feel this way too, there's such a disconnect between what players actually want, what drives players, and like in the back of my head, I'm like, these mechanics must be just insane to add because no one ever adds them, and they're like tried and tested in other beloved series like Borderlands or Diablo, so they're like beloved things, and the minute that they add them, it completely gets better, or people love them, or that the people overcomplicate adding them and it goes to shit, i.e. transmog, and apparently Destiny had like a really nightmare first instance of transmog. But basically, if you guys don't know what transmog is being able to take the look of anything and subsequently put it onto a thing. Okay, I believe we go to details. Yes, and it says go to visual customization. So now the game will keep track of every single armor you've ever gotten, and you can transmog this. Guess what? For free. Destiny apparently made you like pay some shit for it. Anyways, but you can get this for free. So now your armor can look like all the kinds of things that you want. I will say I don't know how I feel about it. It feels a little awkward and not special. The fact that we can wear other like classes armor. So you can wear I can wear pyro armor on my Technomancer, which I think is nice, but that's a little much. I don't know, it just makes it feel like, I like the idea that there were like each class had their own like special armor, but I guess if the one class didn't have an armor you liked, you could look however you want, which is the point of transmog. So I guess I do understand if it's trying to be true to the core effect that it gives players, then of course I get it. But we're going to do something immediately. One of my favorite armor pieces. Also, it's going to take a little time for me to get back into this game, or like getting back into playing it. But if we go to this, and we go to this. One of my favorite armor pieces as the Technomancer is this right here. You look so sick. You look like a weird Doctor Strange. You look like Doctor Strange, and I love it. Okay. Also, if I wanted to look like Bone Man, I could. it would be okay. Also, apparently I can apply all of the ones that I have of this. Yeah, look how fucking cool we kind of look now. Okay, our eyes peeping out of there looks a little kind of less cool. But anyways, I think that's basically like the big heavy hitters. The other thing that I didn't mention is one of the biggest other problems. Me and Nub, back in the day when we were playing this game, were just ranting about it because it was so frustrating. But basically, if you've played this game and you thought that your class was just shit on, there has been a ton of balance changes across the board of the game and just to specific skills. Like I think the Devastator's Impale got a massive buff to its damage and whatnot. So if you wanted to make like a Devastator build that facilitated that, you'd be good to go. Also, with the increase of legendary drops and with I think the rescaling so that your anomaly builds or whatever should be working, and with the rescaling of getting higher legendaries, all these things. Also, with there being no end game that facilitates you having to deal an abundance of damage, you could have fun. You could build what you want to build. You could build a Devastator that just impales everything if you wanted, which makes and utilizes the best aspect of this game, which is its cool legendaries being melded into 2 legendaries, but only taking up 1 slot essentially. So that is just, love it. Love it. Again, I'm very excited to get back into this game. I'm just juiced out of my mind. But ladies and gentlemen, that's all well and good, but one of the things that pissed me off when I was first starting is even though I was like grinding, I didn't really feel like I was making progress because I wasn't getting loot that actually helped me. Because it's especially with the facilitation of needing such high damage, if you got something that was stronger than your current gear, if it had shitty stats, it was pointless, right? So then it was like a matter of like breaking down that stuff, using the other stuff to level it up or take the power from it, and that wasted resources, which is weird. But basically, if you were a person who stepped away from the game because it was the tedium, the frustration with the end game, or the lack of legendaries to be getting into end game, I think you should jump back in and give it a try, just to see. And then now you can like build diversity is gonna hopefully be a thing. Also, yeah, so that was the thing. Also, when you log in, you'll get a random legendary. I do believe it's a random legendary weapon. Yes, so I think I got that in the helmet because I was like, I don't think I got a legendary helmet and I wouldn't have equipped it. I don't know if that makes sense. You see, this one I think is also pretty good because I can heal and all these things. My build was as long as I don't stop firing, I can survive, which was a little sketchy, and also I never run out of bullets. It's gonna take some time for me to get back into this, but anomaly power, cooldown reduction, leech. Again, those are options now, so I'm conditioned to just be like bonus fire rate, status power, and cooldown. That's the only thing that matters. Everything else is shit. But I could break this down and put this on another person, which is great. Yeah, which is grants firepower and anomaly power when your skill is activated. This is amazing. Well, we'll see. I'll keep it off just for right now. But also, did I have this beforehand? I don't remember shit. Oh no, probably. It looks like it has a slow effect, which is not great. All right, let's jump in and see if this works. Now we're gonna do the one that I actually could complete pretty regularly, which is this one. This is one of the few ones that I could complete because again, I had to build so much damage that I couldn't, like, I just die in every other thing. These ones have to run at you, so you got a little bit more wiggle room. Also, I have not played, so imagine me dying all the time here, okay? Because I've not played in a very long time. I will say though, as much as, like, I don't know, we'll have to see. I feel like this could be a fun stream game just because it's something we can constantly be grinding in the background and making progression in, and then yield it in a video on the channel, of course. But I don't know how, to the extent in which we're going to be getting in this game because I'm playing a lot of games right now, you know, and I'm sure you are too. But I think I want to reward the designers for coming back and actually nailing a lot of the things I think hopefully people could nail at the start and not invest in like weird expedition systems that people don't actually want this weird like time mitigation thing of it, but I digress. I'm happy to listen to the community and I'm hoping they continue to do that. Hi guys, me here in post and or in editing. So on the topic of Outriders, one thing I was very excited by this, again, I want to reward the developers for actually not just abandoning the game, which would have been their best option to do because they already got all their money, right? But alas, they wanted to go back and at least make the game's journey to completion a good game, or at least a good progress feel. But one thing that I will say, and this is something that I felt tremendously when I actually was in the thralls of Outriders, is it's not quite, at least right now, I want to give it one more chance to shape a build that actually has a good amount of survivability, and then for that to be a huge part of how you can kind of progress to endgame. But with that being said, I do still think that one of the things that Outriders suffers from is it's not, and maybe this is by design, and maybe this is what they do differently from other looter shooters, but it is not something that where you can kind of turn off your brain and just play. Some classes massively facilitate this, or kind of give you a greater leverage point to do this, like the Devastator, and honestly, to some extent, the Technomancer, who can just mass wipe out an entire area because you can share damage. But I don't know, I still felt like, and maybe again, it's because I haven't tweaked my build to make it so that I actually can survive and not just deal so much damage to push through the encounter in 2 seconds. Because I can even melt bosses for in like 2 seconds. But I need maybe more lifesteal or healing or armor and anything like that. But alas, I digress. Yes, I very much think that if you are expecting to get back into this and expecting that you are just going to now obliterate and things are going to be scaled in a way so that you can have fun and not necessarily die on impact, you'll still find that enemies do a lot of damage. But again, I could be wrong on that because my build is just so offensive driven because it was what you had to have in order to progress in any way. And you had to kind of make up the difference with a bunch of weird lifesteal healing and health gating and then healing again. But let's hope that that's less the case now. And it is. Also, I think I played this when we were streaming, and I was just super focused on my stream, and it's kind of a game where you can't split your attention, which again is, in my opinion, a little bit less good. And it sucks because in order to be eligible to get legendaries, you need to keep advancing and fight even harder and harder enemies, making the end game experience a kind of a focused, high skill cap kind of playtime. Like you're playing comp in Overwatch or something, or some sort of crazy thing. But alas, for some people are gonna love that. For me, it's not the most endearing unless I can find a good build that really just atomizes everything and lets you actually like relax and enjoy and not feel like you're dying if you don't stop shooting, or if you mess up in your placement on the map you just get dropped. Then yeah. Anyways, here's me after I kind of knocked off the cobwebs of me playing. Hopefully you enjoy, and goodbye. Jesus Christ, Warlord's got a lot of health. Jesus Louise. Also, man, they must have really buffed cooldowns because my cooldowns are coming back in seconds. And I didn't think I had this much cooldown reduction, so I think they buffed the shit out of cooldowns to where you don't, like, you could just spam your abilities, which is nice. I'm not used to doing that. I think every time I use my abilities, I get lifesteal in my weapon, so as long as I shoot, if I think it's on 10 seconds, so if I'm not doing it, then we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. We're cooking, baby. Also, I'm sorry I'm not talking. Again, I'm trying to focus. Because I'm like, how do I play this video game? I played this a lot, and I remember me being okay. I do get a sense for things being powerful, though, now. Because what do you call it? The fact that I can, like, my turrets coming back in seconds is abnormal. I remember it being like, I had to make sure I paced out my usage, or I would get screwed and killed. Run! Again, it's not about moving through the encounter fast. We can take our time. We can like just hide. This was the one that killed me. This was the one that was always a touch rough. Okay, so we're gonna chuck that there. Hopefully it will be a little meat shield for me, because that's what that thing is, by the way. It's only there to be a meat shield. Because there was nothing else really of value. But again, if I can get those crit shots, things melt. But there's also things that overwhelm you, which again, this was such a fun endgame when it was here. If as long as I get a headshot, y'all melt. As long as I stay by my turret, we'll be okay. It's just a little dicey, and you feel me, you get it. Are you a big boy? I don't know what you are, to be honest. Also, I don't know if we need the dash anymore, because the dash was like you need it or else you'll die, you know? Also, I thought there was one to my left, but I guess they changed it. There's so many of them. Just like, this game had no chill. I remember I was like, shit, this is just supposed to be a fun end game. Even now, it's still Again, I think it's less if you had more abilities that were more, that made sense, but yeah. And we're like more survival oriented, but also you still need a lot of damage. Like again, I still am curious to see if this game can like be a fun, chill time and not like an actual hard ass thing to do. Because it still seems like I need my build to do enough damage, but hopefully again with the legendaries dropping, hopefully I'll be able to just scale up my damage over on a base, you know. That thing sucks that he's doing right now. And again, we can take our time. We don't need to be as stressed about it, which is super nice. I guess there's one guy just chilling, just living his best life. Oh yeah, also, oh no. I guess I reloaded. You're not supposed to reload. You're not supposed to do it. It's a trap. Stop it. Remember those things also being a huge problem because they just lunge at you. Don't lead enemies to your allies. What? What was that? What? Don't lead enemies to your allies? I don't understand. All right, this is the part where he should summon in, but he is not. Usually I melted him first. I guess they changed that. Oh, dodge away me. I do remember movement being one of the things that you had to prioritize in a way in this game. You don't want to dodge into a wall. No good. See, when you get a headshot, it all works out and makes sense, but I don't know what I was missing. Okay, where's Big Pooba? Big Pooba is gonna come out pretty soon here. He's just hanging out over there. All right, yeah, let's say now it happens, right? Now we're not gonna get as much legendary here, but it still takes a good bit of time to do this. Maybe you'll be able to decrease your run's duration. Alright, so we got him done. Again, anomaly damage is really, or my abilities are not really to do damage, they're just to tank and to keep me alive so I can do more damage with guns. Because again, that was the only way you could survive even for a second at endgame. But hopefully now, again, build diversity. We'll be able to do a little bit of different things. Boom. All right. We got a little bit of a thing. Again, that was at least, I felt like I could complete it. Again, I still feel like you probably need friends. You probably need people to help you just to, because again, when you lose, the fact that you go all the way back to the beginning is a little bit like, Jesus, okay. You know, whereas if you had two people there, hopefully they'd be able to manage or whatnot. But I think also things scale up, so it's like, is it an improvement? But let's see if we get anything good here. Because we're not at end game, but we should, I used to get like every now and again a legendary, but it was like a lot of runs. Let's see. There's some purples in there. Okay, well, hopefully my luck is not your luck, as always. We're gonna take all that, yoink off. We got a lot of titanium, okay. Do we see any gear that we got specifically? We got some purples. Well, we got 3 purples. It could be better, I'll be honest, it could be better, but is what it is. Again, I feel better now that, like, especially if we could do this on stream together, that would be like a fun chipping away at this over time kind of bit of business, which could be fun. But no, this to me is an awesome, like, winning story, essentially, where it's not just like, oh, we're fucked. We've screwed the pooch on this one, boys. And again, we could have always taken things slower. We could have always changed our build to have more lifesteal or healing just to tank through enemies. I will say it still seems like the enemies are dense. Like I didn't notice that my bullets were just slicing through people. So it's like, oh no, I'm running like a really high damage build. So you're still needing that damage. You just maybe it'll change from a game where you melt shit in a game where you chip away at things over time, which I'm not sure if it's something I want. And it was always weird. Oh, Oh, we also got this. I guess this was our legendary weapon that we actually attacked. Because I think you get a legendary mask and maybe a legendary weapon, or maybe I just got this and I didn't even know it. I don't think so. But this one doesn't seem that great. Bolt action rifle, where every shot causes an explosion, or sorry, every critical shot causes an explosion of toxic within a 5-meter radius. What? What? The one we just seen in the store was like wild. It was like, hey, guess what? This is insane. If you shoot one enemy, it's gonna scale off of like 1,000% anomaly damage. Even if you miss, it's still gonna deploy this. It's like, what? That seems excessive, but awesome also. Anyways, pretty neat. Again, happy that they're doing stuff in this game. And apparently there is a DLC kind of slated to come out, so it's not like we're gonna be completely out of the woods just completely. I'm also excited to play my Devastator finally, because now maybe possibly we'll be able to actually survive and like push beyond all this crap. Yeah, like anomaly builds maybe now are actually pretty viable, having seen this whole armor set. But right now, of course, we're going with the Trickster build that was just all built into as much damage as I possibly can. Rocking this one where you, by using your abilities, essentially you get more damage. So yeah, but my turret came back instantly. To be honest though, I still need to familiarize myself with the whole game, because I'm still like, ooh, what? I kind of get it, but not really, to be honest. Sorry. Anywho, thank you guys so much for your time. Hope you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. I cannot wait to get back into Outriders, specifically just playing it on the side. Should be a blast, at least for me. And again, hopefully we can play it on stream together. Actually grind out some of these things together and push through the end game as a unit. But again, massive shout out to the developers for actually going back and doing right by the game, because I know it's so easy just to be like, all right, well, we got our bag of money. We'll learn in the future. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. We don't do that. We just make something that people don't want and boo. But alas, again, this is not one of those stories. This is one of those stories where they came back. I think they really addressed the core fundamental problems, and hopefully, again, we can see less of this stuff within the gaming space, where they actually understand, at least in my understanding, of what I think players really want. And yeah, again, what a good game. And now I think it's something that if you did pick up, or especially with it probably being lower in price now, that's been out for a little while, this is a kind of a steal, I think. But alas, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you guys do enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again for your time, and goodbye.